Hey girl, hey. Welcome back to us talking about Sean and Erica. Not no advisor, no therapist, or have no credentials. I just like reacting to shit. In this video, we are going to discuss a little bit more about the relationship. And yes, I got the notebook. So let's really get into it. Quick recap. Sean has been cheating since 2016. This has caused a lot of issues with their relationships. No, this is not breaking news, but this is a little bit of news for you. We are starting off strong during this sit down. Sean feels like he's being punished for the ways he has hurt her, which honestly makes sense. When
States or different countries, I was being selfish, I was doing me, and did what I did.
So inherently, both parties are correct. Yes, she probably does feel like you are not understanding where she's coming from, because this is a pattern. This is not a new situation that has just occurred. You have shown her time and time again, this is just who you are. This is going to be what you want to do because you are selfless and you choose to do whatever you want that pleases your needs at that moment. But I do also want to make a point that Erica voluntarily, she is not chained in them shackles, voluntarily wanted to still be in a relationship with him. So if you are wanting to be in that relationship, you do also have to take accountability that you are accepting that behavior. And this could definitely be due to low self-esteem or just a lack of reflection of your situation just because you are in love. Some people become blinded, but I really feel like there is a lack of self-respect in accepting this behavior when you have made it very known that this is behavior that you are not okay with.
Absolutely disgusting, by the way. I almost puked, but let me stay focused.
At this point, the therapist seems to finally wake up and be back present in the conversation. And she says, you don't seem moved by the ways you've hurt her. And he says, I'm not. You're what? He takes accountability for his actions and how he has hurt her. But he does not feel any sympathy because the situation keeps being brought up. And it feels like it's an attack on him when she does that. And he also speaks about how he feels like his answers are not doing any betterment for the relationship and it's not helping her at all. Regardless of if that is true or not, it still does not neglect the fact that she feels that way about the situation. And for you guys to have that conversation is necessary in order for her to heal, in order for her to have that closure within your relationship if you want to continue.
You're not ashamed of yourself. Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
At this point, the therapist wants to speak about non-ethical monogamy, which is basically being in a relationship but also having it open. Both parties are aware that you are stepping out of the relationship and enjoying your time with other people. And what really grinds my gears is his response, but also the timing of the situation. Because for her to talk about non-ethical monogamy when Erica has already spoke about how she felt. Yes, she has thought about stepping out with other people. She made that very known that it's something that she did previously in her other relationships. But with this one, she wanted it to be monogamous. They had that basis and understanding with each other that that was going to be the relationship. In my opinion, it almost feels like his wants are more important than her needs. And she has made it very clear, and I understand this is just another option for their relationship to move forward with so that they don't keep having the constant conversation of infidelity, but at the same time it's still like a bad timing in my opinion that it was brought up. But even that being said, he responded that he would follow the code of silence.
Not around here, partner.
Right. Which is basically him saying he does not feel comfortable talking to his wife after he has relations with other women, even though she stated that if she was communicated with, because they have had situations where other women have stepped in the relationship to have an enjoyable time. They're grown, they could do what they. But the therapist actually really clocks him, and I actually appreciate this because she said a code of silence is different from being dishonest, which I completely agree with. It is very different for you not to want to communicate what your activities are with other women, but it's also extremely harmful for you to have that thought process because you still stepping out in a relationship can cause her harm. You are not knowing what you're bringing to her, so getting checked constantly would have to be a thing in this relationship for her to even feel safe or comfortable staying, which should not be necessary in a relationship if y'all communicated enough that y'all don't have this problem.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket.
It just feels like a consistent issue that would occur with her having to feel like her needs are not being met, but his are. And even if she does step out of the relationship, do you think that's what she wants? And if she'll feel fulfilled when she's already stated monogamy was something that she wanted? Right. And he said if she wanted to do it, that was completely fine. As he stated before, he just would not want to know about the partners that she is engaging with. He doesn't want to have that conversation, which is also a problem if it makes her more comfortable to do it, if they have that talk, because they've had talks about other partners that they have brought with them. So you're still lacking communication and empathy towards your partner, even though she's trying to help and give you leeway in a relationship and overstepping her own boundaries, which that's a whole nother conversation about her. And then we start moving on to this anger management. I'm going to really speed up this part because I was extremely irritated. So during this time, Sean acknowledges the fact that he does have problems with being dismissive, and Erica has also made statements that she does have issues with her anger. But also, most of this is pertaining to the infidelity, and so yes,
That's facts. That's facts.
at times she probably takes out normal conversations and take it very defensively, which she has stated that she does do that. But this is not just because of infidelity. She grew up having to do that, and having both partners have this problem is a big issue for the relationship. Because he also states that he has problems with being defensive when having talks with people as well, and he does not communicate his emotions properly, which is also causing a lack of understanding between both parties. But he keeps bringing up the fact that a lot of it has to do with the infidelity as the root of her anger, as well as other things, because she was angry before the relationship. But if you knew that going into it, and I feel like y'all been together since 2016, you've had time to understand her moods and everything, you should probably understand more how to regulate or how to move if you wanted to stay in a relationship with somebody who has those issues. But I also feel like it's a big thing for Erica to learn how to regulate her own emotions if she is self-aware that she is having problems. There's a lot of also, because there is so many layers to this situation that you have to take each part and dissect it almost. But another aspect I want to touch bases on is because while I was watching the sit down and him talking about being dismissive and them lacking that communication factor, I do see that when they are talking, he is looking directly at the therapist and rarely taking a look at his wife when she's talking directly to him. And I feel like that also can cause some type of emotions, because if somebody's not facing you, if they're being directly dismissive of your feelings in a situation, and he presents that just at this point, which we only get a few clips of them, so of course we don't know how their arguments go at home, but just with that little bit, like she needs that comfort, that empathy from you, and you're not capable of giving it to her, that causes a lot of issues between the relationship as well, because she is lacking that need, that want from you, that need. She's lacking that emotional comfort. All right, so the therapist clocks back in during this time of them talking about it, and she says that she wants both parties to internalize what's going on, to understand rather than reacting to listen. And the issue with that is Sean don't want to listen.
I'm trying to be cool, but goddamn.
But she also gave them a good question. What about me made me react this way? And I feel like both parties really need to think about that, because I feel like that was a really good question to ask. But during this time of self-reflection, the therapist wants them to go over their reaction, but Sean specifically targets Erica and only addresses her anger rather than what is actually going on in his reaction to it, or rather what is the cause and root of the anger in both parties during the situations that occurred. But with this subject specifically, it's supposed to be directed towards him, where he self-reflects just as well as Erica. But once again with Sean, we are back to square one, where he just addresses the way he felt about Erica's anger. He says he is suffering with the fact that his wife is an angry person and he is her punching bag. And it gave me the ick, which I'm quite sure that was not his intent, but that's kind of how it came about for him to say it like that. Like, she's just constantly angry. She has no self-regulation. She can't control herself. Which we may not be seeing the full picture, just because obviously people act different. You're on camera and you're going to express yourself differently. But I feel like if you are with somebody and they're constantly angry and it's not something you personally can handle, then maybe the relationship is also something you cannot handle, especially if she is not willing to self-regulate. Then you also need to take that into account.
Oh my God!
Because two things can be true at once. She definitely could have problems regulating her anger, but you definitely could also be the root of certain anger that causes her to react that way. Because it's very obvious she has not healed from a lot of situations that you have put her through, but it's also obvious you are hurting as well. So there could be an attack on both parties, but obviously we don't know because we don't see it. But I'm just saying that I don't like the way that was brought up when he could have just said that she has troubles with her anger. And like, she's not always an angry person, because if that's the case, why would you want to be with somebody who constantly belittles or is angry at you and uses you as a punching bag? That would be a different kink that I don't want to address. I am going to interject because it does seem like I'm on her side, which I am not. If you have anger issues, if you have any problems with your angers, you need to regulate that and not take it out on your partner. And I just want that to be understood. So then the therapist starts talking again, and she states that she's having trouble connecting to him because he is not addressing his own situation, personally reflecting on it from his end, rather than only talking about Erica and her problems. She wants to understand why people are angry with him, and is this a constant issue? And he states that he does not make people angry.
You just said that you...
But there has been a pattern of him being in toxic relationships and relationships that are not working due to certain issues, which are not further discussed on the show. But I'm quite sure maybe the therapist knows a bit. We do. The therapist really wanted him to connect with his past as well as his current wife and get an understanding as to why he's having these toxic situations and the disagreements in between both of them to see if there's any patterns or anything like that. But he states he doesn't need that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Today drain.
I think he needs something else. I feel like this was a very good idea of the therapist to state that, because you want to kind of connect the patterns and see if this is something that's going to be a constant issue, just so that you know better how to react to situations and have that reflection with yourself, so you can see if it's anything to do with like what you have going on mentally, if it's past traumas. But he seems not to want the help that this session is supposed to provide, only wanting to be heard, but not actually digesting what the session has for him. Like, he's not allowing it to actually process to him, and that is the biggest problem right now, is because you are getting help and you're not accepting the help. At the end of this session, the therapist said, and I quote, "I don't think I'm the right therapist for you guys." You know how bad you have to be for a therapist to say that if they really want to help you and you are not accepting the help? That's a reflection of how you need to do better within yourself and your relationship, and open up if you want things to work out for you in healthy relationships patterns. This comes in friendships as well. Do you know how bad it has to be for your therapist to say, "I'm not therapist for you"? Mind you, this is in her field of study. I do want to add a side note that not all therapists can help with certain individuals, because everybody's different and caters to different things. But I feel like in this situation specifically, because she couldn't connect with him, it was causing a lot of issues with her being able to address the situation at hand. In the last portion of the video that I was able to see, Erica also addresses her feelings about having to have his email, location, stuff like that. Which I feel like location is pretty important even in a healthy relationship. Just being able to communicate with your partner, make sure they're safe, is very necessary, because you want to make sure everything's good with them. But also the way that she also said cheating, you can tell that she felt that in her bones, because it is something that has made her very self-conscious and insecure about the relationship. Sean states that he is aware of why she may feel this way and why this scrutiny is on him when he does go out. But I do also want to address the fact that he has shown no signs of changing, right? He just makes sure that he gives you enough breadcrumbs for you to still come back. Like, he says he's sorry. He wants you to know that he hears you, but you're not actually being heard. You're not being listened to. He doesn't necessarily care. He just only cares enough for her to stay and keep coming back as long as he apologizes, and I actually don't like that. This is insane. Another major ick that I got was a metaphor that he stated, basically that he was bleeding whenever she talks about it, referencing the fact that he feels like he's being betrayed or hurting more than her, based off the fact that she's bringing up the infidelity. And she states that it feels even deeper for her, which would make more sense, but it's also giving me the ick because you are not fully taking in what you have done to this lady. That statement itself baffled me. It just made me see him as very self-absorbed. That was a very ignorant statement when it comes to emotional intelligence. It's very much lacking accountability. In fact, I really think that you need to go get checked out or see a different therapist, as she stated. Because this seems like more of a reflection on how you felt rather than what you did to her and the consequences, when this self-reflection should have been stated at a different time. And for you to feel this way means that you have some underlying things going on, because you do not get to play victim to a situation that you created. You don't get to do that. But he proceeds to say that he had no intentions of hurting her, which unfortunately you did. And when you do something like that, you do have to make up for it. I'm sorry, there is no context behind that. She took you back, which is also on her, and it's a reflection of her lack of boundaries, at least with this relationship. Because if you were going to continuously bring something up, that means you do not forgive the person, and continuing a relationship with somebody when you have not healed from that pain is going to cause long-term issues within you guys' bond because of that situation. So that is all that I was able to see. I don't know exactly what it's on. I watched this on YouTube. I very much enjoyed it. This is season 3. I believe episodes 13 and 14 is what I was watching. But I am done talking about this couple specifically. I'm ready to kind of move on to the next couple and see what's more in store for us. But I do also want to address that I believe this relationship is not going to be prosperous if neither party actually addresses the root of the issues. It's too much going on. There is not enough forgiveness. There's also not enough accountability. There's a lack of reflection on both ends. There is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of hurtful words being spewed at one another, which is going to subconsciously always be how you feel about this person. And always is going to be something that you are going to feel for a very long time, especially with that betrayal feeling. It's not something you can get over with within a night. And if your partner is not helping you address this emotion, which they have caused, this is just not going to be a beneficial relationship for either party. I do believe that Erica has a lot to fix about herself. There was a lot of low self-esteem that I've witnessed. There was a lot of self-doubt when it comes to how she feels about the relationship, a lot of lack of boundaries. And I absolutely despise the way Sean handled this situation. I feel like he could have addressed it better. He could have been more open to discussing the situation rather than only reflecting against how angry she was, which he harped on for a whole session. Overall, I think they should break up. As much as I enjoy talking, I also want to hear your thoughts. So please drop a comment below discussing what you think monogamy is and whether he should have been forgiven or not. And if he should have, why do you think so?